Let's call the meeting order. February 19, 2026, Committee of the Whole, meeting of Glencoe Village Board. Let's call the meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Trustee Hallwag.
Here.
Trustee Mealopoulos.
Here.
Trustee Underdog.
Here.
Trustee Rosenblatt.
Here.
Trustee Rubin.
Here.
Trustee Scott.
Here.
President Rowan.
Here. We are not live streaming the meeting tonight, but the video recording will be available on our YouTube channel pursuant to the village board's adopted public comment rule. Because the regular meeting is scheduled tonight, public comment on non-agenda items will occur only during the regular meeting tonight, which starts at 7. If you have a comment on an agenda item that's included in tonight's committee of the whole agenda, I'll ask those comments to be provided when we get to that point on the agenda. At the appropriate time, all comments related to the agenda are limited to 3 minutes, and we'll notify the speaker when the time is up. The item on our agenda is review of the selection process of a restaurant community service vendor for the new clubhouse at the Glencoe Golf Club. And I'll ask Stella Nanos to present. Stella.
So I'm going to just start real quick and then hand it off to Stella. Good evening, everyone, first of all. This is just really an opportunity for us to present to you the process that we went through and are continuing to go through. Obviously, at the committee of the whole, there's no approvals or anything along that line. This is really a discussion opportunity. But for us to walk you through the process that we've been working through since last August to try to secure a restaurant and food service vendor for the new clubhouse. It is a purposeful and process-oriented process, as you might expect in the government sector. You've gotten used to that, and Stella will walk you through it all. But tonight really is just a chance to answer questions if you have them, walk you through that, and then we anticipate, as Stella will describe in a little bit, bringing something back to you next month and for your consideration of approval at that point in time. But with that, I'm going to hand it off to Stella and we'll answer questions as they come up.
Thank you. As Phil said, this is a long time coming. The restaurant was included as part of the referendum in 2023. And in the referendum, we did say that we were seeking a long-term partner capable of delivering a year-round distinctive dining and special event destination. This partner must balance high-quality daily service with a robust special events program, all while prioritizing sustainability and maximizing revenue for the village. So that's where we started with how we created the RFP. We took into account the strategic community goals that are in place, and in August we completed the RFP. So the RFP was a 33-page document. It was very detailed on everything that we were looking to achieve with this restaurant. Specifically, besides what I've already said, we are looking for a partner, not somebody to come in and rebrand the clubhouse. We want somebody to offer the services that we promise the community, but as a partner to the golf club operation. And that was incorporated in the RFP. We also had quite a few minimum requirements, but just to call out some, we did request that there be 3 years experience, successful experience in the restaurant business. You may know that a lot of restaurants come and go pretty quickly. It was important for us to make sure that somebody had established themselves and had a long-term success rate. The culinary expertise, operational efficiency, and an innovative menu. And we are not looking for a cookie cutter approach. A lot of golf courses, especially in the public sector, you walk in, you're going to get a hamburger, hot dog, a chicken salad. I mean, it's pretty typical everywhere. And that is not what we were looking for, not only for the golfers, but also for, more of our upscale dinner patrons. We also need somebody that would be able to mobilize pretty quickly. We are moving through with this process tonight, and hopefully in March we'll have the agreement to you for approval. It has been a long process to get to this point. There was a lot of work that went into getting here, which I'll review. But once we do appoint somebody, they're going to have to mobilize rather quickly. The golf season typically starts April 1st. So their business will start immediately in the food trailer. So it was important that we have somebody that understands how to operate efficiently and be able to mobilize really quickly. So going into the RFP process, first step in all of the work that we did here. And as I said, it outlined everything. Once you have the RFP, what you do with it. So it gets publicly posted. We sent it to the Illinois Restaurant Association. I personally sent it to all of my contacts that I've had through the years and asked them to share it, shared it with my boards to share it. The village publicly posted it, the golf club publicly posted it. And there was a lot of sharing going on. There was quite a few questions, which we saved until we had our meeting. So we had a pre-bid meeting that we had 9 vendors attend. Quite a few questions were asked that maybe weren't specifically outlined in the RFP, and we did follow that up with an addendum. After that, we received 5 proposals. So in this world, and this is 20 years for me at Glencoe, we've always had a food service provider. It is a difficult to fill position, and with our new amenities, it becomes even more unique to find that correct fit. So having 5 proposals was excellent. They were all viable proposals. They all were meeting the minimum qualifications, so we were very lucky to have that. Once we received the proposals, our staff, and I have Cesar Noriega with me here tonight and Matt Roddy, they were very instrumental in the process. The 3 of us put together a pretty extensive matrix. The proposals all had their own unique style in it, so we split them up so we can talk about their staffing experience, the quality that they have, their reach to the community, their menu selection, the fee proposal, and we pulled all of that together. And at that point, we did eliminate one of the proposals. So our initial interviews were narrowed down to 4 proposals. And an initial interview took place with staff only. It was trying to establish if we felt that these people were a good fit to move forward to a more detailed interview that would be the second phase. And after the first initial interview, we eliminated 1. So the second phase of interviews, we were down to 3 vendors. Once we got to the second interview, it changed a lot because we brought in outside help. Specifically, Joe Kraus, who is a golfer at the Glencoe Golf Club. He's also a local restaurateur. So Joe volunteered to help us. He has owned, managed, operated, invested in many restaurants on the North Shore. And he was really very helpful in sharing his expertise on what are you looking for here, what really matters, what's important, because he's gone through restaurants. Some of his were not successful. I mean, he would say, this is what happened to me, and you make sure that you avoid that. So we were very happy to have him on our board. President Rowan was on our board. Joe Hallwax was on our board. We had Jillian Goodman from Friends of the Glencoe Golf Club, a resident also on the board, as well as that. So it was a kind of stakeholders really that were involved in this. We wanted to ensure that we had a 360-degree perspective on each of the vendors. After the second round of interviews, we did narrow it down to 2. And a concern, or I guess a question that came up during the interview process, was that one of the vendors, we were not able to taste or sample an upscale menu from them because they only offered it with their catering service. So we didn't have a catering option. So we set up a tasting. The hospitality for Pearl House Group proposed the menu to us that was significantly more upscale than their current portfolio. And that hands-on evaluation was necessary. So 8 members of our interview panel participated in a formal tasting at their Cabo restaurant. So they set up a table for us as if they were having a special event. So we evaluated everything, the food quality, plating, and professionalism of the wait staff, as well as the tasting food. And after that tasting, it was a unanimous consensus that they were able to provide this upscale dining experience. They exceeded our expectations. And they would have that operational capacity to deliver what we were looking for. Somebody went through the slides real quick. You go back to the food pictures.
Get to the pictures.
Oh. Oh.
That's the next one.
So this is just a little sample of what we were able to enjoy. As you can see, they know what they're doing. This was necessary because we couldn't, the Cabo restaurant is a higher end Mexican restaurant, but we weren't able to see if they could provide what they said they would provide on the menu that is shared with us. So the menu for special events include some dishes, and that's why we gave them the opportunity to do that. Okay. So after this, okay, so just going through the hospitality group, there are quite a few reasons that we suggest moving forward with them. They're all out right here. Some of the biggest ones for me is 22 years of experience. They are a marketing powerhouse. They have 45,000 emails and 25,000 text phone numbers, which we can utilize. Golf club. They have the experience with high volume quick service, over 1,000 covers a day they are doing. They are doing over 1.3 million in catering service. So they are able to give us what we are looking for here. They also have, they shared with us who their chef would be and who their event coordinator would be, so we were able to meet them. They've committed to sustainability with a waste not compost contract that they are going to engage with. They are very present in the community with personal letters of recommendation from Rabbi Steve from Shalom, president of the Northbrook Chamber, et cetera, et cetera. And we can share the full proposal with you so you can see everything that they have there. And they did give us a preliminary financial term with us, which was a base and percentages broken down between food and liquor, special events. This is something that we'll figure out and work through in the negotiation process. So we don't have an answer for that right now. And that's it. We are recommending that we move forward with negotiations with the hospitality group as our preferred restaurant provider. And we have a lot of items to finalize during the negotiation process. And that's what the next step will be. So, I'm here to answer questions, and our staff is here to answer questions.
I just add a couple of points to Stella's presentation. The intention, again, is to just kind of walk you through the process here. And I think from the very beginning, we weren't really sure what we were going to seek. I think this is, as Stella said, unique, although it's not that unique because there are other public golf courses in our immediate region that do have a 12-month a year restaurant operation that do have some level of event and banquet space. And we've had the benefit of being able to learn from those operations as well, what has gone well, what has not, the vendors that they have used or not used, or why or why not. And tying that into what we saw. I think the one point just to underscore is that we recognize that there is a high level of anticipation from the community as to what this is going to be, how it's going to feel, that it's going to be a place that the community can gather and that they want to gather, right? That it's not just the space. The space itself is going to be very welcoming. It's going to be very attractive. It's going to be a spot that people want to spend time, but we also want them to show up there because they want to dine there and watch a game there and have their family gathering there. We know that it's already, there's a lot of community anticipation relative to the use of the event space. Bella's been getting phone calls for 6 months with people wanting to book events in 2026 and beyond. And so we know that people are interested, eager, and anticipating something that's going to be a really great asset to the community. And so the stakes are high. And so we approached this from the beginning with an expectation that as we move through this, that is front of mind, right? That success is particularly important. Being able to handle the various structures of the golf operation alongside the bar and restaurant operation, alongside the event operation, and being able to juggle those things together well is particularly important. And also, obviously, that the food is going to be something that people want to eat, right? I think that was the benefit of being able to do a tasting, kind of have a sense of what Grill House is capable of in their kind of fast service environments, in their catering environments, but we hadn't had the opportunity to learn about their event menus. I would just also underscore that we are we're going to be focused on menu development alongside them. So they have proposed within their proposal that they submitted a series of menu ideas. That is very much something that will continue to evolve and adapt as we work with them. And as Stella said, you know, this first step is kind of a walk before you run opportunity, right? They're going to be operating out of what is essentially a 10, 20 trailer for the majority of the golf season. You know, we're anticipating the clubhouse hopefully will be available by the end of the summer. And that as that building comes online, them moving into it, being mindful of the spaces they've had the opportunity, all of our potential vendors had the chance to review the building plans, to review the kitchen plans, the equipment plans, to see what those would be, and to determine, you know, what sort of adjustments or additions they may need to make. And so that's I just wanted to share that just additional context around this. This has been very much a focus over the last several years, really leading up to the development of that RFP and the submittal of it. And so obviously details still to work out, but happy to answer questions that you may have relative to any of it.
So when you say that there's still time to weigh in and that the vendors will have the opportunity to make adjustments they may need to make, I just want to understand, is that meaning if the kitchen isn't as to, just tell me a little bit more about
Kitchen
that.
equipment is set, we would work with them more towards the menu adjustments, event planning, how we're going to structure the events. We have to work on shared calendars and timing for, you know, we are limited on parking. A lot of the requests I'm getting are for larger parties. So we have to make sure that we work and train with their events coordinator together. So they know when they are free to book 150 person and when they're limited to do that. So those kind of adjustments in maybe what they proposed and what we are limited in, we're going to have to look at.
Nothing about the physical plant. I
No.
think I misheard.
No.
No, I mean, no, there are going to be things that they are going to bring in. You know, they've all, all of the vendors talked about something like an outdoor smoker or
Yeah.
um,
Like a
those
frozen
types.
drink machine,
Right.
an ice cream maker,
Right.
you know, minor things to augment.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I wanted to
Yeah,
just-
no
Yeah, I
major
think
change.
they had mentioned something along the lines of adding a few warming drawers and things like that.
Grill house, and again, so the grill house, a lot of the stuff they do, they sort of pre-make. They have these Extremo warmers that they think maintain the pre-made stuff. And so when we interviewed them, they were talking about how they bring in this stuff.
Yeah. And this physical space is available for things like that, right?
I mean, I
It's-
figured that was all,
Yeah.
and where I want to understand that part a little better. The timeline in terms of the first part of the engagement in 3 months, less than 3 months, that's been communicated to them.
Yes.
And they're,
Yes,
they're,
yeah. That was part of the RFP. They had to agree to and sign off on it. It would be ready to mobilize by April 1st.
that being said, it may not have been clear back in August that they would still be in this, not,
Mhm. Yeah.
not everyone works with government, so
Oh, yeah, it was clear.
they may.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we brought it up.
And it's very, the trailer is moving ready. You can bring in the food and bring in your staff. I mean.
Based on what you just said, it seems like that
It's
they may
more-
be doing a lot of food prep.
The trailer, I would say, just to let's take one step backwards, the trailer really is golf operations only, right? It's not really intended to, it can be, but it is moved. Right. But what we're more concerned about in terms of being able to assemble the team is the restaurant leadership management, making sure that they have the chef secured and ready to go again when the big building is ready and not having to know they had their whole team assembled. They're ready to go when the building's ready for them. And that was unique among the three that we met with. And so I think that made us feel better that when the time came, right, when we knew, because the building schedule could be a month earlier, a month later, it all depends on a whole series of things. When they're ready, when we're ready, we want to make sure that they are ready.
They're not operating on such a shoestring that they don't, it's an organization with
And they can
significant
pull
enough
from-
size.
They
They
have
have
110
promote
employees.
from within and move people around in ways that maybe smaller folks aren't able to
They're
accommodate. So
all
that's great.
cross-trained and 110 employees currently, and they have the chef earmarked and a general manager earmarked.
As well as their event manager.
So we saw what I thought were three impressive presentations. One of them, which they really sort of, it's a catering and golf outfit. One of the things they said is, one of our folks came to us and said, our golf caterer guy just disclosed to us that he forgot to get a liquor license. So he's out and we need somebody in 3 days. And they said, they came in and they were able to start doing it in 3 days. Now, we didn't end up choosing that guy because their story on the sort of restaurant part wasn't as good. They obviously could do the golf part, but they didn't have the vision for the restaurant. There were competing views on the remaining two, but the pitch of the grill house folks that they made was, we have this organization, we can do it. We've shown that we can deliver certainly the golf type food and sort of general catering. And this is our chance to step up. So we are going to go from the grill house thing and backyard grill, which is their sort of primary thing. We're going to go from that. This is our chance to step up. And here's our chef, and he's chomping at the bit to step up. And because we all watch The Bear, we think it's possible to go from a sandwich to Alinea, and we're hoping our guy will sort of. Yeah,
I think they have a track record.
they have a total. They have a total.
They have a catering
they have
business
a
in addition
catering
to 3
business. They
restaurants.
have
So
a catering business. They have 3 restaurants, And like they want, one of the things we said is, look, we don't want just golf food in our Tony restaurant. We want this to be a place where, yes, people will come with families, but also a place they actually want to come. And they said, yeah, we believe that this is our chance to show we can do this. Hence the pictures of the food.
Stella for initial presentation for Phil for providing your added input. Questions?
Sure. I'm curious about this menu development. I assume, so you showed us like fillet and, you know, I assume that's maybe for larger events or private parties. Do we expect that they will be able to provide like a range of types of food for parties to like meet people's?
Yes, yeah, different pricing.
You know,
points.
price points,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah,
So not everyone wants.
they proposed a menu which was required from the RFP, so we wanted to see how creative they would be and if they would go beyond the club sandwich and the hot dog. So they did. They also provided a children's menu, which was not required, but they were thinking about that and the importance of that. So they did. They also have a breakfast and a brunch menu, which others did not provide either. So they are thinking outside the box on that. And then the special events menus, those will be vetted out more, but they did provide, you know, you can have chicken dish or you can have a fillet, depending on where your price points are. So it was varied.
The menu will have a range.
The day-to-day menu, right, yes, exactly.
We're not moving. Curious, if there's, what do we expect this fee structure to? Curious, what are you thinking?
So it's going to be a flat fee with a percentage of sales. So that each of the respondents to the RFP proposed slightly varied versions of that same structure, which is pretty much what we expected. What we want to do is to go back through that and analyze their numbers a bit, make sure that we are confident in what their rent payment, so that base fee, and then additional whatever those percentages of sales are, that they meet the expectations that we have. I would say based off of Stella's initial review of that, they do. That they're in the ballpark. They're in the ballpark.
I also have one last question. Is there any disagreements or is it like here, you know, what if?
We're negotiating that internally, what's the best fit. One sticking point that we have is that we don't know when we're gonna open this year. So counting this year as a year may not be fair because you do want to give somebody the opportunity to get a return on their investment. They're also going to provide all the dinnerware, all the pots and pans. So there is an initial capital investment from the vendor that's required on top of payroll, et cetera. So we have to figure out what we think is the most fair for both parties. And we'll figure that out. This year may be kind of not a full year of obviously clubhouse service.
We also need to, look at the various terms of that agreement, how, what our severance clause would be, right? Those kinds of things, how to separate if it's not the right fit.
Your side.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. What sort of controls we have over the individuals who are working in facilities. Those types of things are all on the list of what we're working through.
Got it. Thank you.
I think, just to as a point to that, anyone who knows the Glencoe Golf Club knows kind of the over and above that the staff goes to from the standpoint of the golfer experience, right? And so what we want to be very mindful of is we've always looked at this public golf course as a public course with a country club vibe, right? And so the same is going to have to be true with the restaurant operator, a high level of expectation in terms of customer service and their ability to meet those expectations is very much front of mind for us. And I think, none of us want to see this something where the golf course is great, but you go to the restaurant and it takes, 40 minutes for somebody to come out and take your order, and then another 20 minutes before you get your drinks. That type of thing, which we don't expect with this, but having the ability to be an overseer, but not an over manager, right? It's their operation to run. Stella's not going to run the restaurant, but she has to be able to trust that she's got levers to pull if they're not doing what we're expecting of them. So that's a big piece of the next, few weeks of conversations that we need to have.
Feels if you were to change your personal experience grill house and their speed.
Yeah, I mean, I've told this story a little bit. It's they are a very consistent dining option. As a family with small kids, they have a big menu. It's easy to get what you think you're going to get on a very quick turnaround. That is what I think a lot of people in the community's experience has been with them. I think what we've seen, Stella mentioned it. We got letters of support included in their submittal. One of the things that Rabbi Steve Lowenstein said at Shalom is that every event that they have, they are catering. Every special event that somebody is hosting, generally they are at least one of the top candidates for the catering for those events. So they're kind of a known quantity from that standpoint. And I think, in my own experience, it's one of those things where you order it, it's ready in 10 minutes. It is consistently the same every time. You know what you're going to get when you get it. They've figured out how to make deliveries and carry out work well. One of the things they shared with us is that, they have large carry out business at the two restaurants. I think he said 50% in Highland Park and 60% in Northbrook, right? So that's a lot of food coming in and out of those spaces, and they're consistently performing because people are coming back again. That's an aspect of this. I think that's to Stella's point, a piece of the menu. It's not the whole of the menu. And I think being able to also expand that into the dining experience, the table service experience. If you can be consistent in fast service, the hope is that you can be consistent when you can slow it down as well, because speed is not always begetting quality. And they've shown how to do it quickly and well, consistently, which is important, really important.
To bring this up, but is there any kind of county approval that's required?
There is not.
Not at all, not. Who gets the inspections?
Life safety and health inspections are handled by us. That's what health inspections is handled by. It's handled by Glencoe.
Sanitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Would they be able, if you had a big special event, they have tents outside, I call it tent catering, they'd be able to handle that.
Yes.
And I guess the only other kind of question you pretty much addressed to that, I had an original concern that they would be too upscale, and that it's too pricey for people who say, I want to bring my 6 grandkids. I don't need a gourmet dinner for them. Sounds like you've got that under control.
Yes.
That's
I will say, we are very excited that this group was interested and that they fit well with us. I think that their experience speaks for itself. They're very successful. They're very well known. They have the staff to back up what their quality is, and this is exciting. This is a really great step for the new clubhouse.
And I would just say, we were impressed that we got the submissions that we got also. I think it was a bit of a question mark to us, wondering, would we get the kind of quality submittals that we were hoping for? I think I said it at the end of our second round of interviews. The good thing is that nobody was sitting in that room saying, "Oh my God, we have to start all over." There's nobody who could do this. I think they can each do it. We think that Hospitality Grill House can do it best. But we were impressed with the quality of the candidates overall. And I think that's particularly important. And it speaks to Stella's reputation. I think it speaks to the work that the golf team put into planning for this exercise. And like I said, we've been talking about RFPs for about a year at this point. And so that we're at this point in the process is exciting.
In the RFP.
Yes,
Thorough.
Yes.
Something deep.
thank you.
Okay, well, we got some work to do. So we'll be back to you next month.
If there isn't anything else on our soon to be great restaurant vendor, and I'm not aware if anybody has any other business. Since we're a little ahead of schedule, what I'd like to do is to have a motion to move into closed session for a regular meeting to do 2C21 review of closed session minutes and 2C11 probable and imminent litigation. Is there a motion to move into closed session?
Second.
We need a roll call for this.
Trustee Hallwax, trustee Mealopoulos, trustee Underdog.
Yes.
Trustee Rosenblatt. Yes. Trustee Rubin. Yes. Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Motion carries, so we're going to go into closed session here.
You can go too.